Starting us off at number 10, we have the Justin Timberlake cheating scandal. If you missed this one, then prepare for your heart to be broken because, oh, this one hurts. Fans adore Justin and his wife Jessica Biel, who are married and have 2 kids together. Honestly, they seem to be the power couple in Hollywood. But that all changed in 2019 when photos leaked online showing Justin holding hands and getting cozy with his co-star Alicia Wainwright. The pictures were taken in New Orleans where he was filming, and apparently the cast had a night off and decided to go to a local bar. In the pictures, Justin is having drinks, holding her hand, and she is also stroking his knee at one point. But what most people pointed out very quickly was that he did not have his wedding ring on. For obvious reasons, this started a huge cheating rumor mill, but Justin released a public statement saying nothing happened further than those photos. He apologized and said that his actions were wrong, and Jessica Biel gave him a chance to prove himself. She was very forgiving. Up next, number 9, we have the epic elevator fight. This one shocked everyone when video footage surfaced in 2014 of Solange Knowles and Jay-Z having an argument in an elevator. Surveillance footage at a hotel caught Solange physically attacking her brother-in-law, who didn't put his hands on her at any point in this footage. It was a bit confusing for people to watch because the elevator ride was just quiet and normal at first, but then what seemed like out of nowhere, she just snaps and starts to kick him. Fans got an explanation later on when reports claimed that she was mad at Jay-Z for allegedly getting too close with Rachel Roy, his business partner's wife. But the 2 of them spoke on it later on and said that alcohol was involved and that they have worked it out and they are on good terms again. Basically, they said it was very simple. They are like brother and sister, and so they fight like brother and sister. I've been there. My sister's chased me around with a hammer one day and then loves me the next. And that's a fact. Cruising into the number 8 spot is Miley Cyrus's bong video. Back in 2010, this was one of the biggest scandals to happen because it was a Disney star gone wild situation. Miley had been exposed on social media and in paparazzi many times, but she doesn't seem too bothered by it usually. But she probably cared a little bit more about this scandal because someone exposed her online in a video of her hitting a bong on her 18th birthday. Let's keep in mind that during this time, this was not legal by any means, and she was still associated with the Disney Channel, so obviously it was very detrimental to her career and reputation. After Disney started making public statements about it, Miley claimed that she was smoking salvia, which is a natural and legal herb with psychedelic properties. No one believed her though, in all honesty, and then years down the road she admitted to what it really was, which we already knew. But okay, Miley. Moving on to number 7, we have Reese Witherspoon's DUI. That is a sentence that I never thought I would say. No one wants their personal life getting caught on camera, but you most definitely do not want a DUI getting caught on camera. Or your legal record for that. It's worse in Reese's case because hers was filmed and then exposed to the entire world. It happened back in 2013 when she was with her husband at the time, Jim Toth, and they were pulled over by an Atlanta cop on suspicion of a DUI. The police dash cam caught the whole thing on tape and showed Reese going into some erratic rage, which actually led to her being arrested. Her husband was the one driving, so he was actually the one with the drink driving charge, but Reese was intoxicated and just felt feisty, and she felt the need to stick up for her husband. In the video, you can see Reese yelling at the police officers and not listening to their orders, which were telling her to sit down. They ended up putting her in handcuffs, and then she lies to them saying that she's pregnant and has to pee as an attempt to get out of the handcuffs. They ended up both being arrested, and she ended up pleading no contest to physical obstruction of another, and Jim pled guilty to his DUI. In spot number 6, we have Winona Ryder's shoplifting scandal. She has one of the most trending surveillance tapes from any celebrity misconduct that's ever been caught on camera. The footage was released back in 2001 when she was one of the biggest Hollywood stars at the time that everyone was talking about. But then everyone was talking about her for all the wrong reasons. Video footage leaked and showed her shoplifting merchandise worth $5,000 from Saks Fifth Avenue in Beverly Hills. The incident and legal battle put her career on hold for a while, but later down the road, she said that it was the best thing that could have happened to her at that point in her life. She explained and said that she felt like she was hitting a wall, and what happened gave her the time off that she needed. Honestly, I don't get when like celebrities shoplift. Like, you are rich and you could probably get half that stuff for free simply because of who you are. Like, what are you doing shoplifting? You have $5,000. At number 5, we have Leanne Rimes and Eddie Cibrian cheating scandal. This one was messy. The two of them were co-stars in the 2009 movie Northern Lights, but they seemed to grow a closer relationship than just co-stars. At the time, Leanne was married to the dancer Dean Shermitt for 9 years, and Eddie was married to model Brandy Granville. During the shoot of their movie, they upgraded their friendship to another level, and surveillance footage caught the whole thing on tape. Video footage from a restaurant showed the two of them having dinner together and even sharing a kiss and holding hands. Even though the footage showed them straight up kissing, the two of them denied infidelity, which just made people even more angry at the situation because, like, you got caught. What do you mean? Sniping our number 4 spot is David Hasselhoff Drunken Hamburger Feast. If this is your first time hearing about it, then you're probably really confused as to what I'm talking about. It seemed silly at first, but it was actually a lot more serious than people knew. The video footage surfaced online back in 2007 and was actually exposed on social media by his own daughter. She didn't have bad intentions, she just posted the video clips online thinking no one would see it or that no one would really pay attention to it. The video showed her dad completely wasted, lying on the floor, struggling to eat a hamburger, which normally would be funny to watch, but he is a recovering addict, and the video exposed that he was no longer sober like he was claiming to be. In the video, you can hear his 16-year-old daughter saying, I quote, "Dad, you need to promise me you're not gonna get alcohol tonight, okay? If you get alcohol tonight, you are fired from your show tomorrow. And a doctor is coming over here in the morning to check your alcohol level, and if there's any alcohol in your system, you're going to be fired." So it was actually a lot more serious than people thought. David ended up admitting to his relapse and issued an apology. Taking over our 3rd spot is Jamie Lynn Spears and the Pita Pit fight. A lot of people learned not to mess with Britney Spears' little sister back in 2015 after surveillance footage showed her doing something crazy. She was having lunch at a Pita Pit restaurant when a fight just broke out in the dining area, which actually included one of her friends. Jamie was not actually involved in the fight and she was trying to break it up, but it was unsuccessful, so she did the unthinkable. She actually was able to grab her friend and pulled her out of this brawl, and then she walks behind the food counter and grabs a bread knife and starts waving it around as a warning to the people fighting. No one got hurt, and no, she did not actually use the knife on anyone, but who knew that this Nickelodeon star had that kind of fight in her? That is pretty badass, I'm not gonna lie. Swinging around a bread knife. I can't even imagine. Moving on to the number 2 spot is Kate Moss gets caught with substances. The famous incident happened in 2005, and by that time, everyone knew that the English supermodel was having some substance issues, but this was the first time that her addiction came out as a legit story. Video footage surfaced online showing the model snorting 5 lines in the course of 40 minutes. Turns out there was a hidden camera in the recording studio that she had been hanging out in with her then boyfriend Pete Doherty. Once the photos and video footage surfaced everywhere, she lost all of her fashion clients like Burberry and H&M, who ended their campaigns with her immediately. All of the contracts that she lost were worth more than $4 million. Rumor has it though that the only brand to actually stick by her during that time was Chanel, who announced that they were willing to renew her contract despite what happened in that video. Earning a number 1 spot is Caitlyn Jenner's car accident. This one is more serious than some of the other ones on our list, and it turned into a significant legal battle. Caitlyn got into a car accident back in 2015, which quickly turned into a serious lawsuit after one person was killed. Caitlyn was uninjured in the crash, but after being exposed on social media, she was deemed a lawsuit for wrongful death. Video footage was posted online which captured the entire accident on camera, showing Caitlyn's Escalade. Her Escalade was carrying an off-road vehicle, and she ended up hitting 2 cars, causing one car to hit the other car. One of the drivers, Kim Howe, was 69 years old at the time and sadly passed away in the crash. At the time of the investigation, even though the tape clearly shows who is at fault, she was able to walk away without any charges. However, 3 years after the accident in 2018, she was sentenced to pay $800,000 for the settlement of the case. Kicking off our countdown at number 10 is the Kevin Hart cheating scandal. In 2017, he broke the internet after video footage leaked and showed him with another woman. Allegations flooded the internet claiming that he had cheated on his wife at the time, Aniko Parrish, who was 8 months pregnant with their son. Kevin was denying the rumors at the time, but then landed in the middle of an extortion attempt. Someone allegedly was in possession of a video of him with another woman engaging in sexual activity, and they were going to expose him if he did not give the money. Aniko later explained how she found out about the cheating scandal, and it was actually through a DM. She said, "I was about 7 or 8 months pregnant and I was having breakfast and I opened my phone and immediately I just lost it." Kevin finally admitted to it and released a public apology to his wife and family, and the two of them worked through it and they are still together to this day. They even have more babies together. Moving on to number 9, we have the infamous Pamela Anderson sex tape. This scandal is so crazy that it's almost too crazy to believe, but it is still one of the most talked about controversies. They actually have a TV series coming out about it. It was back in 1995 when she made a tape with her husband at the time, Tommy Lee. They made the tape during their honeymoon and said that it was never meant for anyone else's eyes. But just a few months after being filmed, it was being watched by millions of people. Turns out they were having their Malibu home renovated and had many workers at the time working on their home. An electrician named Rand Gauthier said that they owed him $20,000 but refused to pay it, so he wanted revenge. He ended up plotting a heist and stole their safe from their garage, which was filled with their jewelry, other prized possessions, and their tape. In order to avoid the security cameras, he disguised himself as the couple's dog by draping a white fur cover over himself, and then once he was inside, he lifted the safe and used a U-Haul dolly to move it. Like, I'm not even kidding, you cannot make this up. Of course, he then leaked the tape and it actually made $77 million in less than 12 months. Wow. In the number 8 spot is Mike Tyndall. This was one of the biggest cheating scandals in Hollywood because it is never a good idea to cheat on the Queen of England's granddaughter. The English rugby player cheated on his wife Zara Phillips back in 2011. Well, he did, or he attempted to, we're still not very sure. It was only a few weeks after he married the second child of Queen Elizabeth's daughter, Anne. Video footage captured him kissing, so I guess he technically did cheat then. But he still denies it. Anyway, video footage captured him kissing a mysterious blonde woman in New Zealand, and the world was shocked. The incident was caught on CCTV cameras and then went viral immediately. Because it involved a member of the royal family, the scandal blew up even bigger than people expected. However, despite the massive scandal, the two of them continued to stay married. Cruising into number 7 is Ariana Grande and the donut. This one is a little more ridiculous compared to the other ones. Who would have thought a donut would cause so much drama? Back in 2015, Ariana was exposed after someone posted surveillance footage of her licking a donut. She and her boyfriend at the time, Ricky Alvarez, decided to play truth or dare at a donut shop, and apparently that was one of the dares. In the footage, you can see them daring each other to lick the donuts that were on display for purchase. People thought it was inconsiderate to the business, obviously, but there was more to it. In the video, you can also hear her saying, "I hate Americans, I hate America." So obviously, Americans weren't very thrilled about it. She faced a ton of backlash for it and released an apology video taking responsibility for her actions. Like, what? Who'd be out here just licking donuts on display? She probably had to buy them all after that. Rolling into the number 6 spot is Tristan Thompson caught cheating. Technically speaking, his scandal was 2 different times because he was caught cheating twice. What a guy. The first time was when his girlfriend Khloe Kardashian was in the hospital about to give birth to their daughter. Security footage leaked online showing him kissing another woman in a nightclub more than one time. On top of that, video footage showed him going to a hotel with that same woman that he was kissing in the club. After the scandal blew over and she gave birth to their daughter, she did decide to forgive him and stayed with him. But then later down the road, it was revealed that he had cheated once again, but with Kylie Jenner's best friend, Jordyn Woods, who was basically a sister to Khloe and the rest of their family. I remember when the video first broke the internet, it was crazy because like news articles announced that Khloe was in labor and then Tristan was out cheating while she's in the hospital. It was crazy. It was nuts. Yet she stayed. Halfway through the list at number 5 is Bryce Hall. That's all, just Bryce Hall. It is safe to say the TikTok star has had many scandals in his career so far, but one of them was a physical altercation that got caught on camera. It was actually 2 incidents on 2 different occasions. The first one was in late 2020 when he posted a video of he and his friends physically attacking an unknown man outside of a restaurant. He exposed himself and tweeted the video and said, "We don't condone violence, but if you punch someone in front of us, we'll have no choice but to defend ourselves." But Bryce's security guard was in the video with them, and everyone was quick to say that the altercation could have been avoided and that posting the video was showing that you did condone the violence. Then, just a few weeks after this first video, another one leaked online of Bryce attacking a server at a restaurant in LA. Apparently, in LA, it is illegal to vape in restaurants, and when the server told him to stop, he got mad and attacked the employee. The footage was crazy, and unfortunately, we cannot share it on here, so I apologize. But the fighting videos are pretty wild to watch. Moving on to number 4, we have the Janet Jackson wardrobe malfunction. A moment caught on camera that will forever be remembered. You might have even guessed that it would be on this list. It wasn't just caught on camera though, it was actually aired live in front of the entire world. Back in 2004, she paired up with Justin Timberlake to perform at the Super Bowl halftime show, and as most of us know it, things did not go to plan. Near the end of the song, they were performing some of the rehearsed choreography, and Justin was supposed to pull off part of her costume, but instead of revealing what was underneath, he exposed her bare breast instead. One of the worst fails ever at the worst timing. It was said that at that halftime show, it had 140 million viewers that night. Taking 3rd place is Lamar Odom's paparazzi freakout. Celebrities having a little freakout on the paparazzi isn't anything new, but this one crossed the line and took things too far. The NBA star was exposed in some leaked video footage where he was yelling at a paparazzi man and destroying all of his equipment. Turns out the pap had asked him about his affair on Khloe Kardashian at the time, and he lost his cool. He found the pap's car, which was parked nearby, and he took a crowbar, opened it, and started throwing all of his camera equipment in the middle of the road. Even after he had thrown it on the ground, he went over to it, picked it up, and just kept smashing it to make sure that it was broken. Tons of people were driving by, so fans were just standing there confused watching the whole thing happen. The man ended up pressing charges though, and Lamar paid him for new equipment and apologized. Rolling into the number 2 spot, we have Paris Hilton. I'm sure you can guess which one this is. Another sex tape scandal that we could never forget. It's tough to say if this was technically caught on camera or not, since she participated in the video, but the whole scandal has been a huge controversy because a lot of people think that it was a publicity stunt. Back in 2003, her tape was allegedly leaked online, but things seem to be a bit sketchy. The video was called One Night in Paris and showed footage of her and her ex-boyfriend, Rick Salomon. But when it was leaked, the video footage at that point was 3 years old, so people didn't know why it just randomly came out 3 years later. Paris claimed that her ex leaked it, but people think she did it because it was leaked just before the premiere of her new reality show. I personally don't want to say that she leaked it in case she really didn't, because that is a horrible thing to have something intimate and personal leaked online like that, but all the articles I have read claim that it was a PR stunt and that she did benefit from it. If you know what I'm saying. She got money. Winning the number 1 place is the Britney Spears umbrella drama. While it may have seemed funny at the time, in more recent years we learned that it was actually more serious than anyone knew, and Britney was really struggling with mental health issues at that time. The incidents became a meme and a gif for many years, but now it's not so funny anymore. Back in 2007, we saw footage of her freaking out on paparazzi and smashing their car with an umbrella. In the same night, we also saw footage of her going to a hair salon and shaving off all her hair, and then getting a tattoo just a few moments later. The night was very chaotic and people didn't understand why she was just spiraling out of control. The umbrella from the incident was actually kept by the paparazzi man who got attacked, and 10 years after the incident he auctioned it off in LA and was starting the bid for $50,000. Kicking off our countdown at number 10 is the Miley Cyrus kiss. You are probably wondering which one? It was the one that surprised everyone because it was so random and came shortly after the news that she had split from her husband Liam Hemsworth. In the summer of 2019, photos went viral showing Miley on vacation kissing and cuddling with Caitlyn Carter, Brody Jenner's wife. People were very confused, but turns out Caitlyn and Brody had split very recently, and so did Liam and Miley. So the pictures were also a shock not only to fans, but just everyone involved. Their fling only lasted a month, but Caitlyn has since opened up about how hard it was for her. She said, "I went on vacation with a female friend. The next thing I knew, I was in love with her. Until that trip, it had never crossed my mind that I was even capable of loving a woman the way I loved her." She told herself that all her relationships after that one will be kept more private. Even though she and Miley did try to keep it private, the paparazzi got them. I remember they're kissing, they were under a hat trying to kiss, and it was like, busted, ladies. Up next, number 9, we have Hugh Grant getting caught with a lady of the night, if you know what I mean. It was back in 1995 when he was caught on the Sunset Strip having an affair, paying a woman to get intimate with him in his car. He got busted and was arrested for lewd conduct in a public place. The news itself was a huge scandal because he was a huge Hollywood celebrity getting caught in the act, but it was a very sticky situation because he was with his longtime girlfriend at the time, Elizabeth Hurley. So not only did he publicly cheat on her, but it happened with someone that he paid. The two of them still tried to work through it as she chose to forgive him at the time, but things did not work out. In the end, she ended up leaving him 5 years later after this scandalous incident. Sliding into number 8 is the infamous Princess Diana affair. This one could be seen as the biggest affair in all of Hollywood history since it involved people with such royalty. It was back in 1992 when The Sun leaked a transcript of phone calls that were captured between Princess Diana and James Gilby. The secret phone calls revealed the affair she was having on Prince Charles at the time, as the two of them were still married. It was a massive scandal, but got even more controversial when it was revealed that Charles was also having an affair with his now wife, Camilla Parker Bowles. So both members of royalty did not remain loyal in their marriage, and obviously the rest of the world was freaking out about it. In spot number 7, we have Madonna, Christina, and Britney kissing. It has now gone down in history as one of the biggest moments caught on camera, even becoming a viral gif and meme. If this whole thing happened in 2021, it would never be a controversy, but things were a lot different back in 2003 when it happened. It was during the MTV Video Awards when Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears, and Madonna performed together and ended up locking lips. Madonna just felt the need to rock the boat a little bit and kiss both of them during the live performance. Because times were so different back then, the cameras switched their shots quickly and cut to a shot of Justin Timberlake's very confused reaction. He was dating Britney at the time and looked just as confused as everyone else did. They ended up cutting the kiss shots out and they did not televise it, but the footage and photos were already all over the internet and they live on to this day. What an iconic moment. Next up at number 6, we have Britney Spears getting called a terrible mother. When asking Britney about it, this scandal was just one big misunderstanding, but to the public it was something very serious. In February of 2006, the paparazzi got photos of Britney driving in her car with her infant son on her lap instead of in a car seat in the back. The photos went viral immediately and media outlets began calling her a bad mother, obviously concerned for the safety of her child. But Britney tried to explain what happened and said that she was in a, I quote, horrifying, frightful encounter with the paparazzi. She said it was just a spur-of-the-moment thing that she needed to get out of there as quickly as possible for her safety as well as her son's, and she didn't have time to just stand there and buckle him in the car seat. Her intentions were to just leave the area to get away from the paparazzi and then buckle him in his seat like usual, but of course, this was still a very dangerous decision and situation. Halfway through our list, at number 5, we have Kylie Jenner's pregnancy. Well, Kylie Jenner's secret pregnancy. That is why it was such a controversy. Normally, a woman becoming pregnant is very exciting news, but because she was 20 at the time and keeping it a secret, it was a more scandalous situation. Back in 2018, Kylie seemed to go quiet for a while from the Hollywood limelight, and no one understood why. For months, people were speculating that she was pregnant, but no one could ever get confirmation until the paparazzi finally got pictures of her with her very pregnant belly. The photos leaked online and it caused some outrage because fans just didn't know why she kept it a secret. She ended up apologizing in an Instagram post saying, "I'm sorry for keeping you in the dark through all the assumptions. I understand you're used to me bringing you along on all my journeys. My pregnancy was one I chose not to do in front of the world." She shared her entire pregnancy though in a video called "To Our Daughter," which was filled with videos and photos that she took along the way while she was hiding it from the world. It was actually beautiful. I watched it. It was so cute. Cruising into number 4, we have ASAP Rocky's arrest. It was a very dramatic event in 2019 when TMZ released a video showing that the rapper got into a street fight while he was in Sweden. Just days later, he was detained by the Swedish court for a suspected attack. It didn't help that there was video footage linking him to the case, but he maintained the claim that he was acting in self-defense. His detainment made worldwide news and even got the attention of Kim Kardashian and former President Donald Trump, who warned Sweden there would be negative consequences if they did not release him from prison. He ended up being found guilty of the assault but was able to avoid jail time. Instead, he was handed a suspended sentence after the court found that the incident was not of such serious nature to warrant more time behind bars. He did pay the victim $1,300 in damages, and that was it. Rolling into number 3 is the Kanye West and Taylor Swift feud. I don't think anyone will ever forget the most cringe-worthy moment in award show history. The time in 2009 at the MTV Video Music Awards when Kanye West walked up on stage and grabbed the mic from her hand during the middle of her acceptance speech. She was accepting the award for Best Female Video when he took the mic and announced to the room and the entire world that she did not deserve the award and that Beyonce should have won it. He gave a big speech about how Beyonce's video for Single Ladies and how it was the best music video ever created, apparently, which was pretty good, but like, rude. The entire thing was incredibly awkward, and even Beyonce felt horrible about the situation and looked horrified when he did it. But later in the show, when Beyonce won an award, she called Taylor up on stage to let her finish her speech during her speech time. So it was really cute. Taking over our number 2 spot is Mel Gibson's leaked audio. Back in 2012, there was a crazy incident that went down between Mel and screenwriter Joe Esterhaz. Joe and his family were actually staying at Mel's home in Costa Rica when he went off on a crazy rant that left them terrified. What happened was, Mel was supposed to direct a movie called The Maccabees, but Warner Brothers passed on it after reading the script, which apparently Joe had written. Joe claimed that Mel purposely sabotaged the film, which was about a famous 2nd century BC Jewish revolt, and said that he did it for anti-Semitic reasons. The audio from his rant leaked because Joe's son had recorded it on his iPod. In his rant, he was lashing out at Joe for apparently not working hard enough on the script and blaming him for the reasons the movie was not moving forward. You can hear him cursing and throwing things, and Joe says he released the audio on purpose so that everyone could see how Mel is behind closed doors. We already knew that though. His DUI, his other racist rant that he went on. We already know. In our number 1 spot is Kurt Cobain. The most serious and controversial scandal on this list was the passing of the legendary musician and the debate that still remains around it. In 1994, he was found passed away in his home from a self-inflicted shotgun wound to the head. That is what the police report conducted at the time, and photos of the crime scene were leaked online. People immediately started investigating the photos and then speculated on whether or not it was really self-inflicted. Some people pointed the finger at his then wife Courtney Love. Since that day, tons of theories have floated around about who it may have been and what really happened to him. Honestly, if it wasn't for the released photos and the final letter that was found in his home, people probably wouldn't have been as skeptical. The letter was inconsistent and raised a lot of questions, and the position of his body in the photos and then the things around him in the scene just didn't add up, and it still remains a mystery to this day. Starting us off at number 10 is Billie Eilish canceled. She recently became the newest celebrity to get canceled after an old video of her resurfaced and went viral on TikTok. A video clip was shared on TikTok and showed Billie lip syncing to a song which includes a derogatory term towards Asian people. She mouthed the word in the video and people were not impressed. More videos then began to surface of her speaking in this gibberish voice, which was interpreted as a derogatory mock Asian accent. She was taking the heat online and went silent for a while before finally speaking out. She posted a long post on her Instagram story apologizing and explained that at that time when she mouthed the word, she was only 13 or 14 years old and didn't know that it was a derogatory term. As for the accent, she stood firm on the fact that she's always spoken in these weird, funny voices her whole life and said that she was not mocking the Asian community at all. She continued to apologize though if things were misinterpreted and said that she is still listening and still learning. Up next, number 9, we have Kim Kardashian's commercial fail. At this point, the Kardashians are getting used to being accused for photoshopping their images, but she was honestly caught red-handed during her recent Skims commercial. Her newest ad for her brand Skims, a body shapewear line, showed her lying sideways on the ground and running her fingers across her body. But fans were quick to point out that when her finger dragged along her hip, it went all like distorted and wavy in a way that fingers don't bend. One TikTok video which showed the commercial fail quickly reached over 20 million views with the caption, "Who approved of this editing?" The video flooded with comments of people saying it was so disappointing to see that her body was edited and that this is the message she is sending out to her fans with her body shapewear brand. BuzzFeed reached out to Kim for comment, but she did not want to comment on it. However, the ad was pulled not long after, and a Skims spokesperson told Page 6, immediately after it was noticed by the team, the video was pulled and the glitch-free version was uploaded and ran for the remainder of the time on air. So apparently it was a glitch. I'm not buying it. You can, but I'm not buying it. Sliding into number 8 is the Kristen Stewart cheating scandal. It's hard to forget the time when the actress crushed the hearts of millions of Twilight fans, also along with her boyfriend's heart. It was in 2011 when she got caught on camera cheating on her boyfriend and co-star Robert Pattinson. Paparazzi photos surfaced showing Kristen making out with another man. But the scandal caused a ton of controversy because she was caught kissing Rupert Sanders, who is actually the director of her movie The Snow White and the Huntsman, and he was also married. He was 41 years old at the time and Kristen was only 22, and he was married to Liberty Ross, who was also the mother of their 2 children. The steamy makeout pictures were everywhere, so she could not deny this one. Instead, she issued a public apology, but Robert never forgave her. They split. That was it. I was heartbroken. I remember it very clearly. In spot number 7, we have Kanye West has a new girlfriend. Controversy sparked when photos surfaced online of Kanye with another woman not long after he split from Kim Kardashian. Photos showed Kanye with Irina Shayk having a romantic stroll in France shortly after the news broke that he got a divorce from Kim. Reports say that they stayed together in this very boutique hotel and they were celebrating his 44th birthday. Kanye's 44? Oh my god. I didn't know he was that old. No offense. Rumors claim that the romance began last month with claims that they were secretly dating this whole time. But then just days after these pictures went viral, more photos of Irina surfaced of her with her ex, Bradley Cooper, who is also the father of her child. The 2 of them share a daughter and they have been co-parenting for some time now, but people aren't sure what it means for them, like these pictures. Witnesses who saw them out in public said it looked like they were just enjoying some family time together. So everything is still up in the air, but articles are still referring to Irina as Kanye's girlfriend. So moving on to number 6, we have Christina Aguilera's spray tan. Hers was more of an embarrassing moment than a scandal, but either way, I'm sure she wishes it did not happen to her. The moment was extra embarrassing because it was caught on camera live during a performance that aired. She was singing at the Etta James Memorial Service, and while her vocals were on point, her spray tan wasn't. The cameras captured her spray tan dripping down her legs. At first, people didn't know what it was, and people actually thought it might be blood dripping down her leg, but it was just her self-tanner. She must have got a spray tan too recently, and with the combination of the hot lights, maybe nerves, sweat, I'm not really sure, but her tan started to drip off. Spray tan 101, man. Don't get a spray tan if you know you're gonna be doing that. Halfway through our list at number 5 is Offset getting arrested. He was making a lot of negative headlines in 2020, but none of them compared to this one. The rapper was questioned by police while he was driving through a President Trump rally at the time, but it all happened while he was live streaming on Instagram. The cops confronted him while he was in the car and claimed that witnesses said they saw that he was was waving an illegal weapon outside of the car window. When they asked him to get out of the car, he refused to, and then things started to get more serious and they had to remove him from the car. That is when the live stream stopped at that point, and then reports say that he was arrested. Later on, the Beverly Hills Police Department tweeted a statement that clarified Cardi B's cousin, Marcelo Almanzar, was in the passenger seat of Offset's car, and he was one who was charged for carrying a concealed weapon and carrying a loaded handheld in public. So it wasn't actually Offset committing the crime, but he was still there and very involved in it. Here we are now at number 4, and we have Charlie Sheen's rant. You're probably wondering which one, because he's had so many, but who could ever forget the time he did a webcast series called Sheen's Corner and made a fool out of himself. After he was fired from his long-term CBS show 2.5 Men, he went on live streams and shared all of his thoughts and feelings on the situation, which was not pleasant. It was basically just a long rant where he stood in his kitchen smoking a cigarette and drinking alcohol. He admitted to the camera that he hadn't even had breakfast yet, but that he was polishing off a bottle of liquor instead. The whole stream was very erratic. He was making inappropriate jokes, blurting out random things, and just acting very manic. But in later years, he talked about that and said he had an addiction to alcohol and substances at that time, and his behavior was also a side effect to the steroids that he was taking. So it was more serious than we thought. I just thought he was crazy. He had a serious addiction at the time. In our third spot, we have Amaranth got banned from Twitch. The content creator's real name is Caitlin Siragusa, and she is one of the biggest streamers on the platform. She was banned recently after doing a live stream which they deemed as inappropriate. She told Polygon that the reason behind her ban was sexual content. In the stream that had her banned, she did an ASMR yoga stream where she held various yoga poses and then simulated the sound of having your ear licked using her microphone. She didn't find the ban fair and said that she is not the first person to do an ASMR yoga stream, but her content has pushed the boundaries on more than one occasion. She has also been criticized for doing hot tub ASMR live streams where she does similar things while wearing a bikini. The internet wants her completely canceled into her career, and she said she's considered leaving the Twitch platform after all the hate she is getting. Taking over spot number 2 is Lindsay Lohan's pictures. Back in 2007, she was arrested for a DUI and was sentenced to 90 days in jail for violating the probation terms. She was ordered to go to rehab after that, but no one really knew how serious her addiction was. It wasn't until photos leaked 3 years later in 2010 that the truth came out about her substance addiction. Photos leaked online showing Lindsay taking substances, and fans were shocked to see how dark things were for her. The pictures were allegedly from a Hollywood party in 2007 that Lindsay and her friends attended. A source talked about it and said, "These images with the syringe are terrifying. What no one knows for certain is just how often Lindsay does substances or exactly what she does." The photos that they were referring to was a picture of an unidentified person putting a syringe into Lindsay's lower back. We obviously cannot show these images, but that is what it was. The positive news was she attended a 90-day court-ordered rehab program following her release from prison in August and was said to have sobered up. Y'all, I'm not gonna lie, go Google these pictures. She made out with Paris Hilton in one. She has a syringe and another one that she's putting into her arm. I couldn't believe it. It was so dark and so twisted. I'm happy she's doing better, and I hope she truly is. Earning our number 1 spot is Jeff Wittick's accident. The YouTuber had a horrific eye injury during one of his vlog stunts, but no one really knew what happened until recently. He came forward with the truth during a documentary series called Don't Try This at Home. In the series, he explained what happened during a stunt on an excavator that was being controlled by David Dobrik. The horrific accident was actually captured on camera, and it showed people, including Jeff, telling David not to move the excavator so fast. David was the one in control of the whole thing, and he is the reason the accident happened, no doubt. The images and video are so graphic that they cannot be shown online. Jeff actually charged $20 on his Patreon for people to gain access to the gruesome footage. In his documentary series, doctors actually tell him that he was just inches away from his life being threatened. For this reason, and for how David handled the accident aftermath, people were furious at David and they started canceling him online. It was a big, messy, chaotic drama. There was just a lot of drama. Good news is Jeff has undergone multiple major surgeries on his face and his eye, and right now he is still able to see out of that injured eye. However, that could change for him.
Number 10. Joaquin Phoenix. We understand a dedication to one's craft, and Joaquin Phoenix is a prime example. Joaquin's acting career has been going steady since he first appeared in the 1989 comedy Parenthood when he was in his mid-teens. While he's seen as one of the greatest actors in recent history, his reputation on set was tarnished thanks to a little freakout while filming the 2018 solo flick Joker. He appeared on Jimmy Kimmel Live to promote the shoot when Jimmy played a behind-the-scenes clip of Joaquin getting loud and angry at a man named Larry and the constant whispering behind the cameras before dropping a few F-bombs and storming off the set. When the cameras came back to the studio, Joaquin was frozen in shock, clearly not expecting that clip to have ever seen the light of day. He explained that Larry was a cinematographer who had been teasing Joaquin off set earlier in the day, calling him a diva and referring to him as Cher. In fact, during his on-set outburst, you can hear him say, "But you can call me Cher, huh? How is that an insult? She's the best." He then explained that there's a lot of pressure on set, especially in a closed space like the apartment from the scene that they were filming. He apologized to the audience for having to see him behave in such a manner and watching him freak out on set, which was met with applause. At the end of the day, he's a performer, no harm ever came from the outburst. Hey man, if Larry's okay with it, so are we. Number 9. Nick Cage. One of the most unhinged men in Hollywood history. One of the few people who somehow managed to star in a billion movies but has barely seen or kept a cent of it. During a press junket in 1990, Nick went on a talk show called Wogan to discuss his latest project, Wild at Heart. When the host Terry Wogan announced Cage, he entered with karate kicks, a front flip somersault. He threw wads of cash at the audience because hey, he was Nicolas frickin' Cage, man! He finally sat down and moments before the interview truly began, Nick asked if he could just take off his jacket for a second. He proceeded to take off his jacket and the shirt that was underneath it. If people thought that Nick was all together before, they were proven very wrong during this interview. Despite the content being relatively tame, the entire time you can see the sweat glistening off Nick's hairy chest. Cause hey, guess what? Wearing a leather jacket on your bare chest is beyond uncomfortable. Sure, it might look cool until you take it off and you're covered in a heat rash. Nick's always been unhinged, but his odd behavior in the 90s was apparent and well documented thanks to him literally being in a minimal of 2 movies a year. Number 8. Christian Bale. Christian is a versatile actor, both physically and skill-wise. He's able to shrink and grow his physique seemingly at will. He's played everything from a skinny substance addict to Batman. In 2008, Christian starred in the 3rd film of the Terminator franchise, Terminator Salvation. While he was filming a scene, director of photography Shane Holbert apparently moved into Christian's eyesight. This caused Christian to snap out of character and into defense mode. The clip is now infamous of Christian screaming at Shane, but to make matters worse, anyone trying to calm Christian down on the set were met with an equally swift verbal lashing. While the cinematographer was just checking a light to make sure if it was in the right place, aka doing his job, Bale made it his mission to share his intense feelings with the entire crew. When the audio leaked, Bale apologized for his actions and told the world to praise the crew for their work. While the movie turned out okay, visually speaking, the project as a whole is remembered as one of the worst entries in the Terminator franchise to date. Number 7. Tom Cruise. Now, it's one thing to be asking people to join your church all the time. Whatever, not a big deal. But Tom's behavior as a member of society has been rough to say the least. Following the announcement that he was engaged to Katie Holmes in the early 2000s, Tom appeared on an episode of The Oprah Winfrey Show that has gone down in history as one of the most chaotic TV interviews of all time. From the moment he walks on stage, he has such a strange energy. He's oddly excited, like he just got told the best news in his entire life. He throws his arms up in the air, he rubs Oprah's shoulders like she's a lamp and he's trying to summon the genie. He revealed to the audience that the excitement was from his engagement to fellow actor Katie Holmes. Awesome, man, but hey, can you please just stop trying to break Oprah? Seriously, Tom jumped on her couch, he grabbed her hands over and over. She couldn't even get the questions that she had for him out because he was just so chaotic. Eventually, Oprah was like, whatever, just bring Katie out. And the cameras followed Tom through the studio as he ran ran around trying to find her. It looked like a scene from Paranormal Activity. It was horrifying. Tom's energy continued to stay at that level of chaos throughout his entire marriage to Katie, but since they're divorced, he's just nuts. He is just nuts now. Number 6, Will Smith. Wait a minute, when did Will Smith have a meltdown? I'm just kidding, you guys know this one by now. In 2022, Chris Rock was hosting the 94th annual Oscar ceremony when he decided to make a little joke about Jada Pinkett Smith and her hair loss. Good old G.I. Jane joke. Rock expressed his excitement to see Jada in a fictional G.I. Jane movie, and immediately following the joke, Rock stood in confusion as Will Smith made his way to the stage. Will walked up, he adjusted his jacket, he looked strong, confident, he took a firm stance, and then he just smacked Chris right across the face just as hard as he could. He winded up his hand to conjure up the full power that he had inside of him. Initially, this was seen as a planned joke between the two, but then Will started shouting at Rock several times during the ceremony to keep his wife's name out of his mouth. Chris handled the situation well though. He kept his cool, he laughed it off for the cameras, and he brought out the next award presenter, literally the classiest man of the night. He was professional and quick to get the night back on track, but unfortunately an hour later, Will Smith won the Oscar for Best Actor in a leading role in King Richard. He played Richard Williams, the father of tennis superstars Venus and Serena Williams, and during his speech, he gave a half-hearted apology for his actions before claiming that the situation was due to his months of portraying the father on set, leaving him with an extreme paternal sense to protect his family. Unfortunately for Will, the slap was enough to get him banned from the Oscars indefinitely, and not just that, but he's been banned from Hollywood entirely, as he is now being seen as an aggressive man with no impulse control. He was fired from any upcoming projects and currently sits at home all day polishing his one and only Oscar while a single tear rolls down his face. Poor old Will Smith. Number 5, Joan Rivers. While speaking with CNN host Frederica Whitfield about her role as a fashion critique on the reality series Fashion Police, Joan did not appreciate the questions that she was being asked. While calm at first, the host claimed that Joan's comments on the show may be considered mean or cold-hearted, but the fans wanted to hear what she had to say. But before being able to even finish that sentence, Joan decided to clap back with, "It's not mean, excuse me," claiming that she says the truth. She's just saying whatever the people on the couch at home are probably thinking. She calls people and their styles ugly on TV. She may be cold, but her words are meant to heal and not to berate. Okay, so everyone who called me ugly in high school was just trying to encourage me? I don't think so. The interviewer then went on to ask Joan how she felt her words were coming across to the audience of both her show and the readers of her book, which apparently featured some pretty dark content about people that Joan just had no business discussing. Joan said, "If you can make something funny in life, do it. Hey, I've got pages and pages of jokes about the events in New York in 2001, but I'm not allowed to say them because they'd make people uncomfortable." Not a good defense, Joni. The final straw came when Joan was asked about the fur coat that she was wearing on the cover of her book and the backlash that she may face from animal rights activists. Well, Joan became furious and decided to leave the interview, but not before calling out Frederica for asking negative questions, for wearing leather shoes, and she reminded her that she made people laugh for over 50 years, okay? Quit asking me why I did this and why are you wearing that. I'm done. She walked off set and was never invited to return again. Number 4, Bobcat Goldthwait. Allow me to start this entry with an impression of Bobcat Goldthwait smelling something that he enjoys. Thank you. Bobcat may not be much of an actor these days, but in the 80s and 90s, this man was dominating the film and comedy scene. His zany brand of over-the-top high-energy performance was well received by any and all who saw him. Heck, I can still hear his voice echoing in my head whenever I think about Police Academy. In 1994, comedian Arsenio Hall invited his longtime friend Bobcat onto his talk show, which unfortunately was in its final days on air. When he heard of the cancellation, Bobcat decided to send a message to the big brains that made that dumb decision. He spray painted the words Paramount on the wall behind him, he threw furniture around, he breaks TV screens, all while Arsenio just sits back and laughs. When they returned from commercial break, the set was in ruins. Despite that though, Arsenio joked, saying, "The worst part of all this is that I gotta pretend like I'm mad at him." Jokes on him, that wasn't the only talk show meltdown that he's partaken in. A few years after this, Bobcat set a chair on fire on the Jay Leno show for no reason other than just for fun, I guess. Like he was standing there going, "Fire! Yay!" He was fined over $3,000 and made to replace the chair. In case you haven't noticed, he hasn't been asked to appear on any talk shows in recent history. I wonder why. Number 3, Bill Murray. He came, he saw, he kicked his ass. Bill Murray, the star of box office beauties like Ghostbusters, Groundhog's Day, and Garfield, Nope, Garfield. Can't say it. I can't say it. Nope, can't talk about it. Bill was doing a round of press in 2015 when he made an appearance on 2 talk shows equally as smashed. He stopped by MSNBC studios to appear on the show The Last Word with Lawrence O'Donnell. As the show was about to cut to break, Bill tries to sit and he falls on his tall studio chair. In the photo, you can see just how done O'Donnell is with Bill. According to Murray, after he finally got on his feet, he informed the audience that he had just finished doing the David Letterman show. He then went to dinner and had a few glasses of the no-no juice before stopping by the studio. As you may expect, Bill slurs his way through the entire interview, constantly going off topic to give the classic, "I love you guys, man, you're doing such a good job." Bill actually physically had a meltdown. He started sliding down in his seat to the point where he was almost doing the interview from the floor. I'm not telling anyone to drink no-no juice by any means, but I think we can all agree that inebriated Bill Murray is quite the hoot. Number 2, Anna Nicole Smith. Anna wasn't just your average Playboy bunny turned Hollywood sweetheart. No. She was also a spokesperson for a line of dietary products after losing a significant amount of weight herself. At the 2004 American Music Awards, Anna took to the stage to introduce rap star Kanye West, but stumbled and fumbled her way through the entire thing, sparking widespread concern about her health. Her speech has lived on in infamy. She mumbles, fumbles, and tries to sell herself to the audience over and over again. Her former partner, Larry Burkhardt, revealed the sad truth of the situation 10 years after her passing. He said that Anna had been taking medication at the time to help recover from her enhancement surgeries. She had chronic pain in every part of her body and unfortunately did not follow the recommended dosage her doctor prescribed. The night before the show, Anna had apparently suffered a small seizure and took copious amounts of medication to help ease the pain and keep her awake for the award show. The result was Anna appearing to be under the influence of something and Kanye West being brought out to one of the strangest introductions in awards show history. And at number 1, oh look, it's Tom Cruise again. I know, right? Shocker. We know Tom Cruise is insane. There's no denying that. He may be one of Hollywood's biggest and brightest in his early days, but his career and skills as an actor have slowly been going downhill ever since he divorced Katie Holmes. Now, to prove his insanity and rage, let's just talk about an incident that occurred on his latest Mission Impossible movie set. An audio clip was released of Cruise berating several crew members with intense anger. The crew in question were accused of not following the safety protocols that were in place at the time. In his rant, Tom is heard swearing and screaming about the rules and how if he wants something to happen, it's gonna happen. The crew are essentially his minions who must do the master's bidding. The rant went viral, but Cruise actually defended his rant rather than apologizing for it, claiming that he said what he said and the stakes were at an all-time high, so suck it up. While this may have happened at a time when Hollywood was shut down and many productions were on hold, it's no excuse to harass the people trying to make you look good.
Number 10. Nigella Lawson and Charles Saatchi. The couple's fight was witnessed by a photographer who stumbled upon celebrity chef Nigella Lawson being choked by none other than her husband, Britain's most high-profile figure, Charles Saatchi. The incident all went down during her birthday lunch, and a now infamous photo was captured of the chilling sight. The photographer, who only went by the name Jean-Paul, told Vanity Fair in 2013 that when Charles grabbed his wife's throat, quote, "It was so violent, with such force that her head snapped backward." The story hit the tabloids at full speed and actually served to open up a much-needed conversation about domestic violence. Their relationship was obviously far from perfect, but the intense controversy that the incident sparked was enough to tear them apart forever. That same year, Charles filed for divorce from Nigella after 10 years of marriage. Funnily enough, he later told the Daily Mail that putting his hands on her throat was merely a gesture and insisted that there was no pressure applied to her. Yeah, right. Number 9. Kim Kardashian and Kris Humphries. Their 72-day marriage had certainly shown signs that it was going to end quickly. A few days before Kim divorced Kris on day 68, the couple was spotted arguing in their car while out on a dinner date in Hollywood. The newlywed couple were photographed heading back to Kim's car after dinner, and you could visibly see the tension in the air. Kris looked fed up, and Kim was giving her new husband the death stare while yelling and waving her hands at him as the argument began to escalate. This very public fight was indicative that their relationship was on the rocks, because that same year Kim went on to file for divorce and got the marriage annulled. The Los Angeles Times even reported that Kim had only married him to increase ratings on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. The best part was that Kris asked for a $7 million divorce settlement from his ex-wife. Otherwise, he threatened to make her endure an ugly public trial. But the NBA star ended up walking away with literally nothing. Number 8. Emma Roberts and Evan Peters. The American Horror Story actors first met on the set of Adult World in 2012, and in the short 4 years since then, the two have shared more drama than some of Hollywood's biggest blockbusters. Toxic doesn't even begin to describe their relationship. We're talking about at least 3 breakups and deleting all social media traces of each other. Early on in their relationship, TMZ reported that the two got into a heated argument while staying at a hotel in Montreal that ended up with both stars getting physical. When police arrived, Peters was found with a bloody nose and bite marks on his body, prompting police to take Emma into custody, arresting her for domestic violence. But her then boyfriend decided not to press charges and they were back together a few hours later. What's really bizarre is that a couple of days after the fight, photos were shared online of Emma clinging to Evan while sobbing into his arms after news broke of the fight. Paparazzi were even able to capture the two hugging one another, with Emma looking extremely upset the whole time. The incident was a bit of a grey area, but many have labeled it as straight up domestic violence. Number 7. Stephen Amell and Cassandra Jean Amell. The couple have been married since 2012 and all seemed well in public until it didn't. The star of CW's Arrow and his wife got into an altercation on a Delta flight from Austin to Los Angeles that ended up with the actor having to be forcibly removed from the flight. Stephen was reportedly screaming at Cassandra while they were seated on the plane and appeared to be intoxicated when a flight attendant asked him to calm down multiple times. When the fight escalated to the point of no return, the actor had to be restrained and removed by an air marshal and 3 flight attendants that worked together to get him off the plane. His wife did not go with him and instead chose to remain on the flight. Big surprise there. With the incident made public, Stephen took to Twitter to try and explain the whole thing and claimed that his emotions got the better of him. Quote, "My wife and I got into an argument. I was asked to lower my voice and I did. Approximately 10 minutes later, I was asked to leave the flight, and I did so immediately. I was not forcibly removed." The whole thing was really absurd because if they needed 4 people to get him off the flight, something about his side of the story just doesn't add up. Number 6. Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. Before the former couple split, their relationship was clearly becoming strained, as The Sun reported that the same year that Jolie filed for divorce, they were spotted in Legoland having a major public spat. Onlookers told the magazine that both stars didn't look happy and looked stern-faced, and photos from the incident show Brad actually grabbing Angelina's arm while she pulls away and appears to be screaming at him. The couple filed for divorce in 2016, citing irreconcilable differences. Now the actors are both learning to co-parent their 6 children after years of custody battles and child support drama. According to Daily Mail, Brad has even been seen visiting Angelina's house to spend time with his kids, so it sounds like they are back on good terms. Number 5. Rihanna and Hassan Jameel. The former couple seemed like they were perfect for each other after rumors swirled that the two were engaged in 2017. Although they managed to keep their relationship very private and didn't post many photos together on social media, photos emerged of the two on a trip to Mexico in 2018 that left many fans wondering if they were done for good. The paparazzi captured photos that painted a picture of Rihanna screaming at her former billionaire boyfriend and angrily pointing her finger at him while they were on the poolside. What's interesting about the photos is that in comparison to Rihanna, Jameel looked very calm and almost passive in the argument, which made the whole thing go viral. Because of all the noise online, the singer took to Instagram and posted a meme of a female lion roaring at a male lion with the caption, quote, "When you think you know more about soccer, hashtag World Cup 2018. But even though she had a good sense of humor about the fight, the couple still ended up splitting up in 2020 because allegedly their lives were just too different and it was too hard to maintain a relationship. Number 4. Nicholas Hoult and Jennifer Lawrence. The couple fell in love with each other when they first met on the set of the X-Men movie series and became co-stars. Jennifer played Mystique and Nicholas portrayed Beast. It all seemed to be going well for the pair until they suddenly split in 2014 after dating for nearly 5 years. They did have a really public fight, however, when they were once spotted arguing during a dinner. According to reports, the former couple was at a restaurant together when they started really getting into it. Witnesses claim that the actress was upset about something and even threw her hands into the air at one point. Nicholas apparently also got very frustrated as he started shouting at her. Jennifer had apparently had enough with him and broke down as he stormed out of the restaurant. Seems like it was a bit of a mess, but it's great that the former couple have since been able to move on with their respective partners. Number 3. Simon Cowell and Lauren Silverman. This was not just one explosive fight, but actually several. The lid was really blown off the couple's relationship problems when paparazzi captured photos of them in March last year having a tense argument while walking with their son Eric. According to The Sun, passerbys noticed that the X Factor judge had a face like thunder, and their arguing was so loud almost everyone could hear them. In fact, it was reportedly so bad that Lauren got fed up and had to walk away from Simon, while the former American Idol judge decided to cross the road to the other side to put some distance between them, and he walked the rest of the way on the other side of the street. But that wasn't the first time that the pair had a fight in public. In fact, back in 2013, the couple were seen shouting at each other inside a car in New York City. They were even photographed in the middle of an altercation while sitting in the back of an SBU in broad daylight with their windows down. Simon had his hands in the air and Lauren looked like she was crying. I guess it goes to show you that celebrities really are just normal people. Number 2. Beyonce and Jay-Z. Yes, I'm about to talk about the infamous sushi fight. So in 2016, the paparazzi caught the power couple dining at a sushi park restaurant in LA. And from the photos which surfaced online, we can tell that they really got into it. It showed them having anything but a pleasant sushi date. Beyonce was yelling and waving her finger at Jay-Z while he looked like he was glued to his phone the whole time. They say that it's rude to use your phone at dinner, but even worse, he just seems like he wasn't listening to her at all. The truth is, we'll never know what started the public argument, but it wasn't the first intense fight that they've ever been in. This all took place 2 years after the bizarre elevator fight at the 2014 Met Gala between Jay-Z and Beyonce's sister Solange, when she started attacking him by punching and kicking him in an elevator, all while the bodyguards eventually had to restrain her. It was really quite funny because Beyonce was just standing there and watching it all unfold. The three artists did make a joint statement about the incident, which read, quote, "They both have apologized to each other and we have moved forward as a united family." And coming in at number 1, Shia LaBeouf and Mia Goth. The controversial actor Shia LaBeouf has had some seriously messed up allegations brought against him in recent years, but this fight was just so bizarre that it deserves a place on the list. The actor and his former longtime girlfriend Mia Goth, who has recently starred in the horror movie X, got into a heated altercation in Germany in 2015 that was all captured on video. The argument occurred on the streets and got so bad that a few locals had to intervene. Shia was heard shouting, quote, "I don't want to touch a woman, I don't want to hit a woman, but I'm being pushed." He then got into a random person's car and had them drive him to the airport. He later told that same person that if he had stayed there, then he would have taken her life. But they seem to have made up after the fight and even got married in 2016 in Las Vegas, only to split up 2 years later. The relationship was probably a complicated one because in 2020, People magazine reported that the pair was spotted together wearing wedding rings. Hopefully they parted for good because they seem to be extremely toxic together.